Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are introducing the theme for April in my themed Letterboxd 4 series, which is sequels. Now if you're new to this series, this video is going to be in a playlist with all of the other episodes so far in the series, but basically just a quick rundown is every month I upload two videos, one that is kind of the introduction, which is what this is, where we introduce what the category is for the month, and then we do a results video where we talk about what my Letterboxd 4 of that very specific genre or category or theme is. And as always, there are some rules and exclusions for the category. The rules here for sequels, at first I thought it was going to be pretty easy, and then you kind of start digging into it a little bit, and maybe it's not. So the rules are that it just has to be after the first film in a series, right? Pretty simple definition of a sequel. But so that does mean 3, 4, 5, 6, however long the franchise goes, they're all eligible. Reboots are not in play. I'm not like a reboot like I just saw Lee Cronin's The Mummy. That's not in play because it's a reboot or just kind of a different. I guess not. I guess it's a reboot, but it's just kind of a different telling of that story. Legacy sequels, however, I think I'm counting. Like it's kind of one of those words. Like as I'm like going throughout this month, as throughout the next couple days of the month, and then the beginning of next month, I'll kind of like play it case by case, on that. It's the same thing. I also kind of had the same hesitancy, but I think I might count prequels, even though like that's by definition not a sequel. But like I feel like maybe those are eligible. But there's also not really any prequels per se that I'm like super excited to check out this month, and so maybe I won't really include those, but there's a chance that I will say that those are eligible. So it's kind of weird and murky when it comes to sequels and legacy sequels and reboots and all of the different things. So the easiest way is just if it's a sequel, it's definitely eligible. Once you start adding on extra words, we'll play it case by case basis throughout the month. And for the exclusions, now, films are excluded in this series, A, if they don't meet the rules, obviously, but B, if a film has ever been used in a previous Letterboxd 4, it's ineligible moving forward, because I just want to do 4 different films every single month. I don't want to do any, retreads. So there are 3 films that I've already used, 3 sequels from previous months, so those 3 exclusions are Toy Story 2, The Dark Knight, and Spider-Man 2. And without further ado, let's take a look at that current Letterboxd 4. Logan, Shrek 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Toy Story 3. Now, Logan was actually super close to making the my superhero themed Letterboxd 4, and honestly, I was kind of shocked when I went back and looked at it that I remembered I did put another film over it in my superhero Letterboxd 4. So I was kind of surprised that I had forgotten already that Logan actually wasn't already used, so it is eligible here. Shrek 2 is a film that was like another one that was super close to making my animated Letterboxd 4 that I did last year. So that obviously has a spot here. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is one that I think it fit in like 4 or 5 different categories that I did last year. Ultimately kind of kept missing the cut in all of those, but it's currently got a spot in Letterboxd 4 here. And then Toy Story 3 100% would have made my animated Letterboxd 4 that I did last year, except I limited it to just 1 film per franchise in that, and so that's why Toy Story 2 made it there. Toy Story 3 didn't, but it's got a real good shot at making the final Letterboxd 4 here. Next up is the 3 contenders. These are 3 films that I have seen, but maybe it's been a minute, and so with an additional rewatch, we'll see if they can bump up into that Letterboxd 4. Before Sunset, The Empire Strikes Back, Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, Spider-Man No Way Home is pretty much just like Across the Spider-Verse, where in my superhero Letterboxd 4, I did a thing where I implemented only one film per superhero, because like my Letterboxd 4 for animated films, if I didn't limit it to 1 per franchise, it would have been Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, And so same thing with a superhero Letterboxd 4 would have had Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Into the Spider... Like, it would have just been Spider-Man all across the board. So that's why both Across the Spider-Verse and No Way Home are both kind of here in this video. The Empire Strikes Back, I watched last year for my sci-fi episode, and it was one of those that, like, I've been a fan of Star Wars, like, to a degree when I was, like, a kid. The older I've gotten, I just, haven't really been the biggest Star Wars fan in the world. But Empire specifically is one that, like, I think when I was a kid and I remember the original trilogy, I remember so much about basically Empire Strikes Back specifically. I guess, just Star Wars as well. Both of those films, there's so many moments of those that I remember kind of stretching across, like, all six of the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. I just stretched those memories across so many films because of how iconic those films are. So always excited whenever I give myself a chance or an opportunity to rewatch The Empire Strikes Back. And then Before Sunset, actually, I just watched a couple months ago for my romance Letterboxd 4. Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, made that Letterboxd 4 for romance, and Before Sunset was actually really close. I've always kind of viewed Sunrise as better than Sunset, but the last time I watched them, they were almost like neck and neck. Like, I loved them equally, so excited to see if Sunset has what it takes to kind of crack into that Letterboxd 4. And then 3 films that I haven't seen: Bride of Frankenstein, Dawn of the Dead, Paddington 2. Now, obviously here, Paddington 2 is kind of the big miss here, or the thing that's the discussion that needs to be had, is that I've heard so many amazing things about Paddington 2. Obviously, it was years after the film had come out, and so it wasn't like in the moment that I was able to kind of catch up. And then when Paddington in Peru came out, I was going to use that as an opportunity to kind of get caught up. But then, maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like I remember Paddington in Peru was only in theaters for like a week, because I remember I kind of missed it like the opening week, and then I was trying to go back and see it, and I was going to watch the other films before going and seeing that, and all of a sudden it was just suddenly Paddington in Peru just wasn't, at least at my theaters, anymore. It seemed like it was a very short theatrical run for that, and so kind of missed that mark, and then just kind of kept kicking the can down the road a little bit on the Paddington franchise. But using this as an opportunity to finally rectify that of seeing the first Paddington, and then seeing Paddington 2, which is regarded as one of the best sequels ever by so many people, and then finish with Paddington in Peru as well. Dawn of the Dead and then Bride of Frankenstein are 2 that are interesting in the sense that I don't know a whole ton necessarily about those specific iterations, like those specific films, but obviously you've been seeing a lot of Frankenstein stuff recently, between The Bride and Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Dawn of the Dead, kind of familiar with some of the additional, like the remakes and things like that in the franchise. So just excited to kind of go back and watch some older films, some older sequels. That's the thing with sequels, and searching for 3 that I hadn't seen, it was a little bit tricky, because a lot of the things that are regarded as like the best sequels, I kind of had already seen, and so I had to kind of go back a little bit, and I found these and saw that they had like really great ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and Letterboxd and stuff like that. So these 2 really just kind of piqued my interest, and I'm excited to check them out. And always, as a reminder, these are the 10 that I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to watch this month. But I always, put your comments down below of any recommendations you have, and I'll also make sure to just check out as many of those as I can as well. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to like this video and then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes in this series or any of the other series I have going on my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure to give me a follow over on TikTok, as I've become a whole lot more active over there as opposed to here on YouTube. Trying to do a little bit of both, but I've definitely been way more active over on TikTok, so make sure you give me a follow over there. And again, thank you so much for watching the video. Have a great day.